it's Judith from Deer and Sparrow with a space theme tutorial using products gifted to me by Resin. This was a really fun project to me as I love using colour and I love using glitter, so it was a chance to really just go crazy with all the different lovely colours that Resonate do, and of course a ton of glitter. They also sent me some neon yellow pigment, which was really surprising and interesting. I loved it. I really want the colours to pop, so I have painted the base just with white acrylic paint. Next thing to do is to mix the resin, so I'm using the 1:1 epoxy resin from Resonate. You can find the full directions on how to mix this either in my last tutorial or on Resonate's website. I've mixed 100 ml of resin with 100 ml of hardener, and that gives me 200 ml of product to work with. Mix the resin slowly for about 3 to 5 minutes. Now the resin's mixed, I'm going to separate it into small reusable cups. For this layer I want to use more black and of the dark blue, so I'm just added a little bit more to those, and now I'm going to mix in the pigments and the powders. When adding the pigments and the powders to the resin, I don't add too much. You can always go back and add a little bit more if you want a stronger colour, but normally I add about between 5 and 10%. As you can see, I have quite a few colours to mix, so I've speeded up this whole section of the video. I still want to give you an idea of what I mixed and how I mixed it, but I will also put this in the comments and information section. So here's a closer look at what I mixed. So there's the neon yellow, the silver blue metallic, the black opaque with aurora glitter, the midnight blue opaque with blue reflection glitter. Then we have some gorgeous mica powders. So this is the sea smoke, sapphire, Indian silk, and meteor shower. So first check that your board is level and then start pouring the resin on. Started by adding the black and the midnight blue, and then at the bottom some meteor shower with a little bit of clear resin over the top just to add some more depth, and then I used a silicone spatula to push them around the board. And the sun came out partway through filming, so you can really see the colours properly now. So now I use the heat gun to blend the colours together and give softer edges, and you can see some cells forming there with the blue and the black near the top. So that's my background colour done. Now I want to add some composition. I want the top of the piece to be quite dark, and I want the bottom of the piece to be a little bit lighter, more colourful. So here I'm using the Indian silk and the sea smoke, just adding lines and some structure, and then I will use the heat gun to soften all the edges and blend the colours together. And now I add the neon yellow, and I always start pouring off the board so that you don't end up with a blob on the board and it's got the colour from right from the edge. It's all looking a little bit too linear at the minute, so I'm going to use the heat gun and blend the colours together, soften the edges, create some cells, and just move the resin around, move the colours around to create some different and interesting effects. Now I add some finer details. I want to get some different colours into the centre and create a little bit more form and a focal point to the painting. And then I want to soften these edges. I don't want to use the heat gun as it's too powerful and it'll spread all the colours too far, so I'm using a heat tool or an embossing tool. In the final part of this first layer, I want to add some more details to the painting. So I wanted to create some planet-like shapes, so what I'm using is the neon yellow pigment and just dropping a little bit into the resin that's already there. Then I want to add in some stronger lines, so I'm just using the last of the black pigment here and just using the stick in the resin, dragging the resin through, and the same with the blue. And then to move the colours around a little bit, I just tip it up and tilt it down. Then then final step for this layer is to add the color nuggets. So I'm just going to add them across the purple line near the bottom. This is the first layer of this, so these color nuggets will in part be covered up, but I just wanted to create a little bit more depth in the space piece. So that's the first layer finished. Now it just needs to cure. Now it's time for layer 2. So it's been about a week since I worked on the first layer, so I just need to sand this layer down just to give it a little bit more tooth. And then in the end I wipe it off with some alcohol just to clean away all the resin dust, and then we're ready to go. So let's get on with mixing colors for layer 2. I mixed some transparent magenta with the pink interference powder, then some turquoise transparent with the blue reflection glitter, some meteor shower mica powder, then some clear resin with the aurora glitter. So here we have all of them all ready to go. I also mixed black with more aurora and some of the silver grey, and then I have all of these textures ready to go. So I start adding resin to the board, and the first colour on is the black opaque pigment, which means that I will lose some of the details from the first layer. So in this layer I plan to use quite a few transparent pigments and just the plain clear resin to uncover some of those details from the first layer. As you can see, I'm just adding quite randomly. I still want the planets to show up, so I've put some clear resin over them. There's some bits near the bottom I've added some glitter resin to, and now I just spread everything out with a silicone spatula and add in just some waves and lines and textures just with the movement of the spatula. Now that I've done that, I want to add in some lines. I'm going to use the heat gun to spread out these lines and just blend all the colours together and give it a little bit more composition. Now I want to add in just a few linear details. These I'm using just the end of the mixing stick and dragging the colour through the resin. Just a little bit of heat just to soften the lines. So I'm happy with this composition and the colours and everything, so now the very final step is to add in all the textures. So I started by adding the smallest texture first, which was the nuggets, and then I moved on to the blue, and then the black, and then the glass. So last thing, just check for any dust particles and then cover it up and leave it to cure. And here's the finished piece. So I've brought it out into the sunshine so you can really see the depth and the glitter and all of the different colours that are happening in it. There's just a lot going on in it, and it's really fun to look at. And that's the end of this tutorial, so if you have any questions, please get in touch. And a huge thank you to Resonate for giving me all these wonderful products, and as you can see, the colours and the glitter, they're just fantastic, so thank you very much. Bye!